This is Bow TV.
Welcome back to Bow News Network. We are actually covering the impact of Hurricane Ida, almost a Category 5 hurricane as it makes its way towards the region of Louisiana. We have been tracking this storm over the last few hours. It's actually intensified quite a bit, and we're seeing some significant intensification of this storm as it prepares for landfall in only a matter of a few hours. As far as the storm itself, we can actually see it here on our Doppler radar, and we can see some really powerful convection here as far as the system. The eye is very well defined as it's making its way into the region, and we can see here that we're actually really a very powerful system actually coming on land. The system is actually at 150 miles per hour maximum sustained winds, so it is actually about 7 miles per hour, just short of being classified as a Category 5. And this is a very, very grave situation. We can see from our Doppler radar here that we're actually going to be very, very close to possibly an impact to the region of Grand Isle. And also, we had anticipated that it would be impacting the region of Houma, but it's actually shifted a little bit to the east as it comes making its way on landfall at this time. So we're actually looking at a significant amount of precipitation already impacting the region of southeastern Louisiana near Gulfport as well as Gartier. And as we take a look at this Doppler radar, we can actually see everything that is actually happening with respect to the storm actually making its way in. We do see some local spotter reports of hurricane force winds as well as hurricane force conditions actually impacting the region. But as you can see that the hurricane wall and the eye wall is very, very well defined as it's preparing to make landfall here very, very shortly. One of the things that we wanted to point out with respect to this system also is that we're seeing quite a bit of picking up rotational forces on the radar, which could indicate the possibility of possible touchdown of tornadoes along the way. So we're actually continuing to monitor this system. We're going to be continuing to monitor the system throughout the entire day as this system prepares to make landfall here very, very shortly. We wanted to take a look at the potential storm surge here, and it's very, very grave as far as a potential storm surge. When it comes to close to the mouth of the Mississippi River, we're looking at potential storm surge, and that's the amount of water that is going to be pushed into land as a result of this powerful system actually making its way into the region of Louisiana as well as Mississippi. And if we look along this projection by the National Hurricane Center, we can actually see that starting from the left near Vermilion Bay, anticipating storm surge of about 4 to 6 feet, and then we do see all the way near the region of the mouth of the Mississippi River, anticipating 12 to 16 feet of storm surge. When it comes to the Lake Pontchartrain, we're actually looking at about 5 to 8 feet of storm surge, and then all the way across to the region, we're actually seeing closer to Pensacola Bay, even in the Pensacola Bay region, of 1 to 3 feet of storm surge as the system makes its way inland. Here we are tracking the storm, and we do see that it's actually making its way inland as a major hurricane. It is just short, ladies and gentlemen, of a Category 5, just about 7 miles per an hour. The pressure right now is 933 millibars, and we're looking at 15 miles per an hour moving northwest into the region of um, southeast Louisiana. And it's more lining up with, unfortunately, more lining up with the area of New Orleans on the southeastern side of the Louisiana coastline. So we're a little bit concerned about the potential ramifications of severe flooding. Of course, there's going to be catastrophic winds and also very, very severe catastrophic damage along the coastline for many of the properties. As far as the region for Grand Isle, where we anticipate most of this hurricane will actually make landfall, somewhere between Grand Isle and Houma, that we anticipate that this is going to be this very, very catastrophic and very, very significant damage to residential buildings, as well as coupled with the fact of the storm surge that will actually be making its way inland and impacting the region throughout the area. Yes, as we take a closer look, we can actually see that section of tornado advisories, and that's going to be up for the next 12 to 13 hours. We see that red sectional area, and that's actually starting from Grand Isle north up to New Orleans, and then it stretches off quite a bit to the right, and this is an entire area of potential and catastrophic tornado advisory area. And we do see those on the Doppler radar, that actual imagery there showing the rotational being picked up on the Doppler radar. And we see those orange sections near the Gulf Shore, which are actual special marine advisories, and we can see that the outer rain bands are actually extending all the way out to Pensacola at this time as the system makes its way inland. So we're continuing to monitor this system, especially for potential for flash flooding. We are a few hours away from actual impact of this system here in the region of New Orleans, and we're anticipating that there's going to be a significant amount of flash flooding, especially for the low-lying regions. We're hoping that with this almost a Category 5 hurricane making its way into the region, that essential workers in the region at local hospitals who are unselfishly tending to the needs of patients of all different kinds facing different afflictions at this particular time, also in this pandemic, that they will be prepared for the actual landfall of this system making its way into the region of southeastern Louisiana. Let's take a closer look at some of the rainfall that we anticipate for the region. We can actually see here for the rainfall projections, we are looking at potential 15 to 20 inches of rain to be in the region from Grand Isle all the way up to New Orleans. And then extending out from that, we're looking at about 6 to 10 inches, probably from about Houma all the way out to the borderline of Mississippi as well as Louisiana. And then we just see a lot of significant rainfall even after the system makes its way inland. We are looking at a lot of rainfall that's actually going to be inundating the area all the way through to Jackson, Mississippi into Memphis. Western Tennessee should anticipate an additional up to 5 inches or 6 inches of rain as the system makes its way in, possibly being downgraded to a tropical storm, but nevertheless Keep in mind that it's going to be downgraded from a Category 4 hurricane, very, very strong Category 4 hurricane, into a tropical storm, and that is going to be bringing a significant amount of rainfall to the region. So, as far as taking a look, as far as where the system is um, right now, we are looking at a system that is actually very, very close to landfall. And on the Doppler radar, we can see those cells that are impacting the region in line with Baton Rouge and Lafayette in the region of Gulfport and also New Orleans. So the northern section of New Orleans is getting a significant amount of heavy rainfall, and we see those cells just north. Eventually, as the system moves in, it's going to be the catastrophic winds are actually going to pick up quite a bit, and we anticipate that it's going to be even more significant, strong force winds that are going to be impacting the region. As you can see, there's several local spotter reports of hurricane force winds, and we do see what we're actually paying a very, very close attention to on this Doppler radar is the those rotational reports from the system, where we actually see potential rotational forces, and those are indicators of potential touchdown of tornado activity and other very, very powerful types of severe weather that are typical occurrences of tornado activity. As we can see, we are mentioned that the tornado advisory window is extending all the way from New Orleans down to Grand Isle across to Destin in the Pensacola. So this is a very wide spanned area. Keep in mind also that one of the things that we are looking for is also going to be that front right quadrant of that hurricane as it makes its way inland. And we're really concerned about all of that, what's called the dirty section of the hurricane, actually having a lot more impact on the region of a large populous region of New Orleans. Unfortunately, it was reported that many of the residents um, didn't have the resources to quickly pick up and relocate to another safe zone, such as Texas or even Georgia. Texas more so, because this system is going to head north and then head east and attract through Mississippi into Tennessee, possibly Kentucky. So some of the residents have chosen to actually batter down and prepare for the storm, or seek emergency shelter through city, local, as well as state shelters that have been mandated and and allocated for the citizens of New Orleans and the surrounding neighborhoods and cities. One of the things we wanted to really take a little touch on a little bit more, is the storm surge. And as we had mentioned, this is a significant amount of body of water that is actually going to be moving inland. A lot of this area has been fortified by stronger levees throughout the region. Of course, in response to the 16th almost anniversary of Hurricane Katrina that severely impacted the region of New Orleans, and with over 2,000 deaths and property damage over $125 billion. So they have actually fortified the system. Now, this is almost a Category 5 hurricane. So one of the main concerns we have is whether, as this system makes its way further inland, whether this system is going to compromise the integrity of the new levee system and what impact that will have on the area. We are really concerned, most notably, with hospitals in the area that may suffer loss of power. We anticipate that this region is going to have significant power outages. With a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane, power line poles will be uprooted. Of course, it goes without saying that the grid will sustain severe damage, and it may take weeks, if not months, to restore the electricity to the region. So we're very, very concerned about hospitals that are tending to very, very sick patients and the consequences of loss of power as the system makes its way on board. So here we are, only a few hours away from the actual landfall of Hurricane Ida. Here is a major Category 4 hurricane. It's only few miles per hour off becoming a Category 5. So we are going to be continuing to monitor the system as it makes its way inland. As far as the position is concerned, it is just under less than possibly 100 miles away from actual landfall. And we anticipate that landfall will be somewhere between um, the region of possibly around Galliano or Grand Isle or Pointe Alahache region. But as this eye actually makes its way inland, you can anticipate that there's going to be significant and catastrophic wind damage on the all around as that eye makes its way further inland. We do see that system actually making its way further inland, so we're going to continue to monitor the system as it makes its way further in. As far as the Doppler radar is coming in at this particular time, we do see some really heavy advisories right now for the region. We do see that the tornado advisory is extended all the way from Grand Isle all the way up to in line with Hattiesburg, and then all the way across to Andalusia and down in line with Destin, Florida. So this is a wide encompassing range of severe weather that is actually coming on the inland at this particular time. So we're continuing to monitor the system as it makes its way in. With regard to the tornado advisory, it currently looks like it's going to expire in about 10 hours, but that may be updated at some point. The National Storm Prediction Center is now doing a tornado watch for portions of southwestern Alabama, the western Florida Panhandle, southeastern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, coastal waters region, and this went into effect on Sunday morning and the evening of 6 a.m. until 7 p.m. Central Time. And the primary threats do include a few tornadoes that are going to be possible. Hurricane Ida is making landfall later this morning in southeastern Louisiana and inland through the afternoon. Very severe threats for possible supercells, and a few tornadoes will increase throughout the day in the outer convective bands to the northeast as well as the east and center of Ida. The tornado watch advisory area actually extends 80 statutory miles north and south of the line from 20 miles west southwest of Slidell, Louisiana to 40 miles east southeast of Pensacola, Florida. And at this particular time, the tornado watch means that conditions are very favorable for tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in and close to the watch area. And we do want to make sure that we get this information out to all those who are taking a closer look at this system as it makes its landfall. What you're actually seeing there, as far as those symbols, are local spot reports of severe hurricane conditions, and of course, this extends all the way to the Mobile, Alabama area. You do see those special marine advisories near Gulf shores. So we are taking a closer look at that region at this particular time, and we're continuing to monitor this region for a Louisiana landfall of Hurricane Ida very, very momentarily, very, very shortly, in only a matter of a few hours. But the more intense weather is actually starting to make its way further inland. We see that front right quadrant actually impacting the region along the coastline there, and in the region of Galliano, and also extending all the way up to Estelle, just south of New Orleans. So let us just take a quick look at what we're looking at here. So we anticipate that by about 1 a.m. Monday, this system is still going to be a prominent hurricane moving its way inland, and then by 1 p.m. Monday, it will be downgraded to a tropical storm. Keep in mind, it's going to be bringing a significant amount of rainfall even through the downgrade. What we're really concerned about is going to be the additional saturation of all of this weather in the region that is already super saturated by a lot of rainfall as a result of for the last 90 days that has inundated this region in Louisiana, Mississippi, especially western Tennessee. They're still recovering from the severe flooding that led to catastrophic loss of life in the area of western Tennessee. And also we do see the system actually moving into Kentucky as a depression sometime around 1 a.m. in the morning on Wednesday. This system is going to have a far-reaching effect, wrapping its way all the way around, heading into the region of West Virginia as well as Pennsylvania as a depression, which means simply it's going to be additional rainfall in the region. And we're just looking at this Doppler radar, and this Doppler radar is just showing a significant amount of weather activity that's actually extending into the region at this particular time. We're very, very concerned about the loss of power, once again, to its essential services such as hospitals in the region of Lafayette as well as Baton Rouge, Mobile, Alabama, and most notably New Orleans. This is a very, very, very severe impacted region with respect to the pandemic, and a lot of different contingency measures have been prepared in the event of loss of power and loss of utilities with respect to providing continuous care to severely ill patients in this region. But of course, not every contingency measure can actually take into account what is actually going to be concerned with respect to being prepared for every possible scenario. So we are praying for all of our heroes, as well as who are the healthcare workers in these hospitals who are providing care for very, very ill patients. Also, firefighters and also police officers who have actually put their lives in harm's way to try and prepare citizens for the impact of this storm as it makes its way inland in the southeastern Louisiana region. So we are definitely we're definitely appreciative of all of the efforts of first responders as well as firefighters, even utility workers who are on call, ready at a moment's notice to try and restore power once the system um, has actually left the region, and they can go to work to try and repair a lot of the serious and catastrophic damage that will be experienced by millions of residents in the region. One of the things we want to also touch on too is a storm surge. This has been recently updated by the National Hurricane Center. We see that severe storm surge. We're talking about 12 to 16 feet close to the mouth of the Mississippi River, extending all the way out to Sabine Pass, 1 to 3 feet. Vermilion Bay is looking at 4 to 6 feet of storm surge, and then as we get closer to the region of where landfall will be, we see 8 to 12 feet of possible storm surge near Morgan City, and then Lake Pontchartrain is also a major concern for severe flooding, and we anticipate storm surge there will be 5 to 8 feet. So this extends all the way out, as you can see, to Okaloosa and the Walton County line, Pensacola region, for 1 to 3 feet of possible storm surge, and even into the Mobile Bay area, 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. But once again, we're just seeing some really significant weather activity, and also powerful rotational alerts just about near the wall of the hurricane as it makes its way inland into the region. And as you can see, there's special marine alerts for the region of Mobile, Alabama at this time, and we are taking a look at the specific alerts for excuse me, specific alerts for the tornado advisory, and that looks like it's going to be extended for the next 10 hours at least. And we are seeing a tornado advisory, just a little bit specific tornado advisory in the region of Gonzales, just north of Pensacola. So there's a tornado watch for portions of southwestern Alabama, the western Florida Panhandle, and there's now a tornado watch number of 472, and that seems to be extended. That zone seems to be extended all the way into the region of Molino and also McDavid. It's a zone actually just north of Pensacola, and that is actually the right front quadrant of the storm. So we anticipate that there are going to be more significant weather advisories on the front right side of the storm as this system makes its way in. This hurricane makes its way inland. So there's a specific tornado zone that is near McDavid, just south of Atmore, but just north of Pensacola near Gonzales, and we're going to be monitoring the nature of that system. And there's already local spotter reports of floods in the region of Gulfport, which is Harrison County. So as these local spotter reports actually start coming in, we'll be bringing more information to our subscribers as far as what's actually happening with respect to this storm. But they're actually coming in from various locations now, and we are seeing several different advisories coming in, but we just wanted to make sure that our our subscribers knew about that window of tornado watch for the next 10 hours, extending all the way from Grand Isle all the way up to Hattiesburg. It extends all the way across to the next corner of Andalusia, and it all the way down through along Pensacola over into the Gulf of Mexico. So this entire region is going to be prone for tornadoes as this system makes its way inland. So we're going to be continuing to monitor the system as it makes its way further in um, uh, and impacting the southeastern section of Louisiana. But we just wanted to remind our viewers that we are looking at tornado advisory in the region, and it's going to be impacting the region as a severe storm coming in. We also wanted to let our subscribers know also that the pressure within the system has continued to drop significantly as it was making landfall. So as the system was continuing to actually impact the region, we could actually see that it was actually the pressure was actually consolidating. It looked like the hurricane was actually tightening and consolidating and actually making its way further inland to actually make a more impact area as it made its way in. We're now seeing some really several special marine advisories coming in. So we just wanted to make sure our subscribers knew that there are special advisors in the region of Port St. Joe, as well as Mexico Beach, Panama City. That's going to be continuing for the next few minutes. With respect to these marine advisories, we are seeing that for the following areas, coastal waters from Ocalachnia River to Apachikinola, Florida, out to 20 miles, 20 nautical miles, coastal waters from Mexico Beach out to Okaloosa, Walton County line to Mexico Beach. These are the special marine advisory zones that are going to be popping up. Strong thunderstorms were located along the line extending from 18 nautical miles east of Okaloosa Deepwater Reef to 10 nautical miles southeast of Panama City Beach, to 9 nautical miles south of Port St. Joe, all the way southwest of the Sea Tower. So we are seeing wind gusts up to 50 knots, and very, very extreme wind gusts are actually with severe lightning and very, very heavy downpours are in the region. The locations that are impacted at this particular time are Panama City Beach, Laguna Beach, Empire, Mico Wreck, Cape San Valles, Mexico Beach, as well as Port St. Joe. So we're actually seeing these live special marine advisories that are actually popping up along the region. These are actually along the region of near Tidal Air Force Base also, and Panama City. So we're taking a closer look to see exactly what's actually happening, but the situation is very much decaying in the region with some very localized tornado watch advisories, as well as a severe watch alerts for the region, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, as this system makes its way inland very, very shortly. Some of the real heavy thunderstorm activity we're now seeing is now battering Baton Rouge, as well as the region of Lafayette, and they're extending all the way out. So the weather is starting to actually decay in the region of Lafayette at this particular time, but these outer rain bands are extending all the way out to Baton Rouge as well as Lafayette. And of course, the winds are going to actually pick up substantially within the next hour or so, as the first major outer bands of this hurricane actually start to make their way inland into New Orleans. We actually see it on the Doppler radar, where it's actually coming in pretty significantly now. And the eye wall, the path of the landfall, based on the National Hurricane Center, had actually shifted just to the east a little bit. So we're actually monitoring what that really means as far as the actual landfall of the eye. But we can clearly see on this Doppler radar imagery that this eye wall is very, very clear defined. And we do see those outer bands are extending all the way out, almost to the borderline between, almost to the borderline near Alexandria and Natchez, um, between the region of Baton Rouge and New Orleans. So we're continuing to monitor this system as it makes its way in to the region. But we have some severe high weather alerts coming in from local spotter reports, as far as very, very high wind gusts, to the tune of 50 to 6 up to 50 knots. And as the system moves in, we're more concerned about what's actually happening on that front right quadrant region. And because the storm actually shifted a little bit to the east, that now means that more of that front right quadrant is going to be in line with impacting New Orleans. So we're very, very concerned about the system as it makes its way inland, and what areas are going to be impacted most gravely by the strong force winds of the front right quadrant of the hurricane. So let's just recap on the potential storm surge as well as rainfall. We are seeing that we're anticipating that in the region, now that it's shifted just a little bit to the east, we anticipate that there'll be 15 to 20 inches possible just south of New Orleans into the New Orleans area, and then extending outside of that, we're looking at a potentially 6 to 10 inches of rain, extending all the way up from the region near just out from Lake Charles out to possibly even Mobile, Alabama. May see 6 to 10 inches of rain. And as the system moves inland, we're actually seeing possibly that we're going to be taking a look all the way into Jackson, Mississippi, possibly 6 to 10 inches of rain. Keep in mind, residents of Jackson, Mississippi should be preparing for a severe uptick in very, very horrible and catastrophic wind damage. Even as the system comes on land, keep in mind that it's going to be downgrading from potentially a Category 5 system. So once it starts downgrading from Category 5 and then to Category 4, perhaps a strong Category 2, it will be more inland, and that's going to be a significant amount of damage, even as it moves inland. And most of this area is very, very flat land, so it doesn't have any really mountainous terrain to actually cause any major shearing forces or shearing conditions that will try to disrupt or disintegrate the hurricane even quicker. So we anticipate that, as you can see, is going to be significant rainfall in the region all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, as well as Memphis, Tennessee. Western Tennessee should anticipate at least in the region of 5 to 8 inches of rain as the system moves in. And it's going to be very, very concentrated, very, very heavy downpours as the system moves in further. Alright, so we're going to continue to monitor Hurricane Ida as it makes landfall. Please make sure that you go ahead and like this video, share this video with friends and family, especially those who are impacted by the storm. We anticipate that this hurricane will be making landfall in only a matter of a few hours. We're going to continue to bring you the latest coverage of Hurricane Ida as it makes its way inland. We do appreciate all of our subscribers, and thank you for watching Bio News Network. Please make sure that you hit that notification bell so that when we go live, you'll receive the latest updates, and also you'll be able to see our coverage of the Doppler radar as Hurricane Ida makes landfall in the region of southeastern Louisiana. We are praying for our healthcare workers who are manning the hospitals. We are praying for our firefighters. We're praying for all of our FEMA responders who are in the area, who are going to be assisting those who are injured possibly by the hurricane force winds, as well as damaged structures. We're praying for all of our police officers who are putting themselves in the line, a call of duty to try and assist the residents of Louisiana, all the first responders in the region. So please make sure that you hit the notification bell. We'll bring you the latest information so that you can stay ahead of the storm and be in the know as far as the most severely impacted regions as Hurricane Ida actually makes landfall very shortly. Thank you for watching Bio News Network.